Howdy, everybody, and good evening. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025, and the time is 5:30 p.m. We're here for the regular session of the Coppell City Council. We do have a quorum present, so I'm calling the meeting to order. We will be convening into executive session in the first floor conference room. At the end of the executive session, I'll come back out and invite everybody to join us for work session. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. The time is 5:44 p.m. We have adjourned from executive session, and we'll enter into work session in the first floor conference room. The public is invited and welcome to join us. Thank you very much. The time is 5:46 p.m. We're in work session of the Coppell City Council. Just as a reminder, any citizens' comments will not be heard during the work session, but will be heard during the regular session under the citizens' appearance. We have 5 items under our work session. The first one is any discussion regarding the consent agenda, or any, not just consent, but any of the agenda items. In full disclosure, I wanted to talk about item O on consent. I did post my name as a candidate for Regional Director of TML. That election is going to be announced at the convention in 2 weeks. It does require a resolution from the council for this, to receive a vote from the city, which I signed, which is kind of weird. But that's what item O is about. We did set a policy that if candidates had contacted us, then we would consider them, otherwise no. And I hope you all got an email from me. So I'm seeing a blank look. Did you get one? Okay, good. Good. So, you know, that went out to like 900 people across the region. So the region that we are in is Region 13, and it goes from south of Waxahachie all the way up to the Red River. It includes Dallas, Collin, Rockwall, Van Zant, Ellis, did I say Coppell, a couple of other counties. Big area, 130 cities. Any other comments on any agenda items? All right, we will move along. Item B is discussion regarding the Art Center operations. Miss Janine, welcome. You weren't ready to get up that quickly, were you?
I do. That'd be fun.
Do you cut paper? You got time to send something?
I can click share it. Oh wait, there it is, right there. Questions have been answered. I haven't got the clicker. All right.
Not me.
Can't take them anywhere.
Just as a note, there are spare cupcakes in the back. If anybody would like to try one, you're welcome to it. Those are courtesy of my daughter, so.
And they're amazing.
Happy birthday, Mayor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's closer to Mike's birthday than mine.
Happy birthday, Mike.
Mike, yeah, there you go. He's in Leeds, England, by the way. Janine?
All right. Hi, good evening. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for having me here. Tonight, I am here to provide you an update on the operations and sustainability of the Art Center and our 3 areas of service. The last time that you heard a presentation from the Arts Center was in 2023, and that was from Brett Egan from the Arts Institute when he presented his recommendations and his findings from the DeVos study. And his recommendations were for the management and the strategies for the future sustainability of the Arts Center. And in that presentation, he suggested that we review in 2025 to benchmark where we have come from 2023 to 2025, which brings me here tonight to give you an update and provide you this information. So the first thing that I wanted to reintroduce you to is the Arts Center's mission. And our mission is to provide a gathering place for those looking to connect and enrich their lives through culture and entertainment. The Coppell Arts Center is a place for memorable experiences that exceed expectations and are within easy reach. And how we do that is through our 3 areas of service. Our first area of service is our presented shows, events, and classes in which we buy, the city buys and presents to the community. And a ultimate goal for this arm of service is break even. However, an industry standard is 70% on cost recovery, which is our target goal. Our second area of service is our resident art groups, and they artistically produce their own shows, events, classes, and camps at the Arts Center. And this arm of service is budgeted at 0% cost recovery. Our third arm of service is our third-party rentals. So these are weddings, corporate rentals, birthday parties, promoter rentals. And the goal of this arm of service is 50% profit. So these 3 areas make up the entire Arts Center. And we have now been through 4 cycles, 4 seasons, 4 years of this programming. Throughout these 4 years, we have had many mentions and some awards. We, 3 years in a row, have won Best in DFW for numerous categories, mainly Best Venue and Place to Volunteer. We are up for 2025, but it doesn't get announced until 2 weeks from today, so I'll update you on that again later. We nominated Jason McCann from Very for the Business Council for the Arts 2024 Obelisk Awards for his partnership with the City of Coppell and his in-kind donation in partnership with the Arts Center. We've also had some nods from the Coppell Gazette and Living Magazine for Best Entertainment Venue. So we've had these mentions. We're an Arts Center in a very competitive North Texas market. Where do we fit in? How do we compare? And how do we size up to other art centers? So when Brett Egan from the DeVos study gave us his findings in 2023, he said from his data that we are considered a small to medium-sized general art center. This data also lines up with SMU Data Arts research findings. What that means is a venue our size should be having 45% earned revenue and 55% of a combination of city budget and or contributed revenue, and that would be coming from the Arts Foundation. If we were a privately owned facility, that contributed revenue would all be through fundraising, donors, and sponsors. There would not be city budget in there. So when the study took place in 2023, Brett presented the pie chart that we were 31% earned revenue. 50% of that pie came from rentals, 44% came from ticket sales, 5% came from facilities fee, which is a fee that is added on to the ticket price to cover what it means. Facility, chairs, floors, doors, things like that. And 1% from other revenue, which is made up from sales of concessions, profit from that, and made up from things like playbill program ads that we sell. 69% of that budgeted contributed piece of the pie was funded 92% from the CRDC, 7% from HOT, that was the first year that we were using the HOT tax funds, and 1% from foundation donations and grants. Jump to 2025, you can see that we haven't moved the dial too terribly much. We are 32% in earned revenue, but 60% of that, 61% of that is from rentals, and 47% of that is from ticket sales. 0% is from facilities fees, because facility fees were removed after the findings from the DeVos study and went into effect in fiscal year '25. And 2% is from other, and that's because we shifted some things with concessions and labor program ads. So we're left with 68% of budget and contributed to our revenue for our budget, our operations, excuse me. 89% of that is from the CRDC, 10% is from HOT, and 1% again comes from the foundation. So how does our 3 service areas fit into this pie of the 32% earned and 68% budgeted? I'm going to start with the presented programming. Our presented programming in fiscal year '25, which was our 2024-25 season, included 11 titles. That was 16 individual shows that included our headliner, which was Leanne Rhymes, and used 26 days in the main hall. The average cost per show is $30,000. That's all in, artist, expenses, travel, everything, marketing. That's a 27% increase from fiscal year '24. Touring shows have become more and more expensive each year. We sold for about 4,900 tickets, which was 73% of the available tickets to sell in the main hall for those shows. And the cost recovery for just this arm of service is 68%, and that includes the donation grant from the foundation. Our goal is 70, so we were a little shy on that. And the foundation this past summer has spent a lot of time redoing their strategic plan and coming up with new benchmarks for them to create more revenue, which will increase their grants gifted back to the Art Center, which will help reduce that gap and get us closer to 70 or above % for cost recovery. On top of the shows we buy, we also include educational programs at the center, which we provide at a break-even for cost recovery or free to the community. This programming includes 12 paint and sip events, 8 weeks of art camp throughout the year, 2 master classes and workshops, and 12 make and take crafts. This usage is about 53 days and is usually spread between the very classroom and the reception hall. So where are all of our patrons coming from? We're sitting at 72% of our ticket buyers are from Coppell. This is a reduced number from fiscal year '24, and that's due to increased ticket buyers from outside of cities. Still, our highest outside city ticket buyers are Flower Mound, Irving, Lewis, Dallas has creeped up, and Grapevine is still holding strong. We also have ticket buyers that come from all over the North Texas area. We occasionally will see pop-ups from Oklahoma. We've seen people come up from Houston. They're just not high numbers to get into that highest group of cities. So overall, this is our presented programming. And in the DeVos study's recommendations in 2023, the goal was for us to bridge the gap in the gap of 68% to 100% break-even cost recovery. There's 2 ways that we can do that. We either decrease the amount of titles that we buy, or we decrease the quality of shows that we buy. And then the third option, which is the option that I'm trying to foster, is to work with the foundation so that they can raise more money to help fill that gap. So that is the presented programming. The second arm of service we have is our resident company, resident local art groups programming. All of these groups, which include Theater Coppell, the Coppell Community Orchestra, the Coppell Community Chorale, the Ballet Ensemble of Texas, and also programming that is artistically produced and curated by the Coppell Arts Council and the Art Center Foundation, their events. The ticketed portion of all of these events were 93 ticketed events across all the groups, which used 384 days in the center. That means that some of the groups had multi-day programming at the same time. That's how we're above 365. If you're looking at a single day use, the resident company uses the building 322 days out of the year. They are the heaviest user of the Arts Center out of our 3 service areas. The average cost for the Arts Center to produce their events, their ticketed events, is about $2,200 per event in hard costs. They sold 7,800 tickets, which was 49% of the available tickets to sell in the main hall and the Wilson Theater combined this year. The resident company program is 100% budgeted. We did have 4% cost recovery this past year, and that came from above basic services. So that is if a resident company wants specialty lighting, or if they ask for additional microphones outside of the basic services, they pay a reduced fee from the market price that we would charge a third-party rental. And then all ticket revenue that the resident companies create is paid back to them. They get to take that home after their shows. So how do these groups perform? What do they artistically produce? Because we have a very engaged local arts community that enjoys coming to see the artistic productions that these groups do. The theater offers 6 titles a year. That's 54 shows, because they do 3 weekend runs of each show, and they have 1 week of camp. They sold 66% of the available tickets that they had. The Corral offers 13 different shows between their adult, chamber, and child choruses, and 1 week of camp and 2 workshops. They sold 31% of the available tickets to their audience. And the orchestra offers 6 shows, so they have 4 annual shows and then 2 chamber series shows. And they sold 25% of the available tickets. And the Ballet Ensemble of Texas offered 5 shows and 1 school show for the CSID, and they sold 74% of their available tickets. The 2 groups that are not really in these metrics is the Arts Council. They offer each year the Art Sip and Stroll. They curate 6 to 7 different exhibits. This past year it was 6 in our lobby, and they hosted 3 open night gallery nights for their artists in the community to come. All of the curated art in the Art Center is unticketed and free. The Sip and Stroll has tickets, but the Arts Council sells those tickets, so we don't get those metrics. And the Arts Center Foundation last year offered 4 member events that happened before presented shows. They host a gala and a dog show each year for those events, and they ticket all of their own events, or they offer them for free to their members. So this wraps up how we budget for our local resident arts and how they use the Arts Center to artistically produce their art for the community to enjoy and to encourage the community to join their groups to perform with them. Our final service area is our third-party rentals. This past year we had 76 third-party rentals, and then 35 City of Coppell or Coppell Chamber events that used 151 days across the entire Art Center. So this arm of service is our second heaviest user of the building. The average cost per rental that the Art Center incurs is about $1,400. And the estimated guest attendance from our 76 paid third-party rentals was a little over $15,000. So our estimated annual net profit from fiscal year 25 is 63% this past year. The reception hall by far is the highest rented room, followed by the main hall and then the lobby. We were able to rent the Wilson Theater once this year. This is the first year that is under the new user agreements, so we were able to get someone in there, and that was a very profitable and very well-received corporate rental. This year we did lose 28 possible rental events due to date challenges between the presented series and the resident company events. We also lost 20 events due to client abandonment, meaning we reached out and contacted them multiple times and they just dropped off, and or they said price. There were probably another 30 events that were lost, but those were lost to having another event already booked, of another private rental already booked. We conducted a market study again on our rental rates to make sure that our rental rates are on par for the market for other art centers and for hotels and convention centers against corporate rentals. What you may see is our base price might look higher than a convention center or the Irving Arts Center or the Eisman Center, but in actuality, we offer more items and services in our base room price than those other facilities do. So if you were to take the same list of services and put them side by side, we actually usually are the better price. Our increases recently have only been for labor rates that were needed to be adjusted to pay our vendors and certain equipment use, so that we're making sure that we can maintain the equipment and be able to replace that equipment after its end of life by profit of these rentals. These are our 3 service areas at the Arts Center, and this is our growth from our first season all the way to our 4th season. So you can see there's been some progression, and then in this season it looks like we did a little less, and I'll explain that in just a minute. In our 2nd season, that is where Council, you let us expand our staff, which we're very grateful for, because that staff expansion allowed us to really explode the private rentals, which is our main source of revenue for the Arts Center. So thank you for that. It's been very successful. Our rental goals are more corporate rentals and more multi-day rentals. So even though you see 76 private rentals for fiscal year 25 on the end, there were many more of those events that were multi-day rentals, which means extra revenue and easier to execute, because once you've loaded in that rental, it sits for a day in the same setup, rather than what we call turn and burn each day for a different setup. So you'll see that we jumped from 95 to 91 to 85 presented shows and rentals. And that is because in these first 4 years, the Arts Center had to understand the appetite of the community. How many events will a community want to attend at the Arts Center in 1 month or 1 weekend? What is the type of programming that they want to see? Is it what we're getting in our feedback surveys, or is it shown through who's buying our tickets? So we've been playing with that mix now, and we think we've found the right mix of this. That is 10 to 13 titles per year. And that is so we are not expecting the community to show up at the Arts Center on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of every weekend. Between our presented season and the resident companies shows, that's a lot of events to attend. So we've been working really hard to refine and craft that. The resident companies also refined and recrafted a little bit, because this past year was the first year under the new user agreements, in which we moved to a little bit of block booking, and rehearsals needed to be set up as flexible rehearsals. So that's why we went from 323 to 303. But overall, actively used days in the Arts Center, we're still hovering at about 351. So we're closed for a few holidays, and we close for maintenance, so that we can repair and upkeep the center to make it still be a high-class facility. So knowing this update, what are our next steps to better sustainability for our future? Looking back at what the DeVos study presented in 2023, we realized that we have done work. We are continually, intentionally buying shows that are high quality and are still affordable to our community, and we are trying to do that and exceed our 70% cost recovery. The recommendations to refine our budget from the DeVos is, in 2023, it's to close the gap between expenses and revenues. So we're looking at that for future budget planning. While trying to increase revenues, there are places where we can trim a little bit of our expenses, because that helps reduce that gap as well. And also, a key partnership is with the foundation in order to produce fundraising efforts to increase so their grants can be higher, because that can help us with the programming of the presented shows becoming more expensive, and also for us to continue increasing our playbill ad sales with the center. So overall, that's a recap of our past year and our 3 arms of service and how we budget and plan for these programs. Questions?
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, great presentation. I really like the fact that you're running this like a business. So I like a lot of the metrics that you shared. One thing I was curious, time being the most perishable commodity, if we have, let's say, a total of 100 hours that the art center can be used for those 3 categories that you talked about, is there any measurement on out of 100 total available hours, how many we are actually using, and is there an opportunity there to go after the hours that we are not using?
Yes, so currently, we are in a situation when you talk about weekend usage usage fills up fast, and it is evaluated in the way that we book. So the first thing that we do is load in the presented shows. We lock in that time that is necessary. Then we load in the resident company art groups shows. After that, we open up to rentals. We know that we are still trying to fill hours on weekdays, and most of that is corporate rentals and business meetings. We have had probably about a 17 to 18% increase in corporate rentals. Where we need to find more time is some of the weekend hours and some room space between the Wilson Theater and the main hall. We have a lot of inquiries that want to use the main hall or use the Wilson Theater because the Wilson Theater is more affordable than the main hall, but we're very restricted on time. So it's working around that schedule to do it. An art center our size, with the amount of rooms that we have, pretty much should max out at about a little over 400 events per year so that you're not burning out your staff and destroying your building because you have to maintain it. So we're close to that, but it's the type, especially third-party rentals. We want to get in more promoters because promoter rentals bring other shows here that we didn't buy that has an opportunity to introduce a different artistic form or culture. And those shows tend to also bring people from outside of Coppell, even from outside of Texas, and they stay in hotels and they use our businesses. So promoter rentals are great, but promoter rentals tend to want Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays. So it's having more availability in our performance halls for that.
Brianna and I were up here Sunday, and all 3 of the rooms were busy.
Yes.
That was actually cool to see.
What's that?
I said that was really good to see,
I was-
and how well that was all managed and.
You didn't even know the others were really going on.
No, I thought that went really well.
Iju?
Yeah, do you have the expense reports or to share with us, or is it part of the presentations?
So are you wanting to know the total expenses right now for fiscal year 25?
Yes.
So right now, this was pulled on October 1st, so it's still changing. But the total expenses were about 2.2 million, and the total revenues were about 740,000. So we're under about 1.4 million. If you go back to 2023, our total expenses there was about 2.1 million, and our revenues was about 670,000. So the one thing that we've been tackling over the last 4 years also have been one-time post-construction projects to get the building where it needs to be in order to have the multi-events in the building in one space. We've had to add air conditioners. We have had to redo concrete flooring. We have had to redo offices, and we are right now in the middle of the break room project. So each year, up until this year, we've spent anywhere between $30,000 to $80,000 of our budget on these one-time projects. So hopefully this, when I see you next year, these numbers will be a little different because we're done with the one-time projects now, and we're really in maintenance mode.
So in your presentation, there were 322 events. Average cost was about $22.60. That translates to $727,720. So that's a loss, correct?
Correct. So the resident company events, the 93 events, were the 2260. So that's around $210,000 of a loss in order to put on the event days for the resident companies, not their rehearsal time, just their events. And then they retain their tickets, their ticket funds, anything they sell, the face value. So if they sell a ticket for $30 and the fees are $3.30, they keep the $30 and the city keeps the fees, and that pays for our ticketing services and credit card fees. That's all, because we took away the facility fee. And then the resident company also have their service grants to help fund their organizations.
And the 76 paid ones,
Mm-hmm.
35 was associated with this, 35 was city or chamber.
Yes.
Are we paying for our service or?
So a city event and or a chamber event is not charged. So that is subsidized and budgeted for, but the hard costs to produce those events are still there. We have to turn the lights on, we have to clean the bathrooms, we have to have custodial, we sometimes have to have security on site, we have to have staff on site, so there are hard costs affixed with that as well. But it's less because they're usually smaller and meetings, which is why those costs are about $1,400 rather than the $1,400.
Does that 1,400 also factor in electricity cost, employee cost and all that?
Yes, so those hard costs I presented for all three areas, the $30,000 for a presented show, the $2,200 for a resident company show, and the $1,400 for an event. Those include electricity, water, security, custodial, cleaning supplies, the correct amount of staff to run each type of those events. That's all factored into that because we're really trying to find what our cost recovery is, where we can trim and what we need to increase and what we might need to change. We want to get to 45, 55, and it's been 2 years and we've only moved the margin by 1% or 2%. So there's more work that we have to do. We have to get the foundation to do more work. And then there's some areas that we've refined as much as we can. If we continue programming the way we're programming in those areas, there's not much more we can do with that.
So I saw in the chart 37% to 38%, right?
It was from 22 to 25. It is 31 to 32%.
Oh, 31 to 32.
Yes.
Janine, thank you so much for giving us this update. I realize it's been a couple of years since the DeVos presentation, so I appreciate you kind of bringing that up. If I remember correctly, obviously they were giving us some best practices and things like that. And if I remember, and I'm gonna walk very carefully here because I know we've got resident company members right in front of me, but was there some sort of like mix of like the resident company like rehearsal time and things like that is preventing us to maybe get to some of the ratios and the recommended I guess splits, if you will? Is that am I remembering that correctly?
You are remembering that correctly.
Okay. So I guess my question on that is there any kind of plans at this moment to work a little bit more on streamlining those rehearsal times and stuff to open up more rentals? Or is the plan right now just to stay put and just kind of just tell the council, like, look, this kind of is what it is right now, and if we might need to open up another rehearsal space or make a space available so then we could generate revenue? What's kind of the planning on that piece?
So post the DeVos project, there were some changes made to the user agreements, and the resident companies went under a new user agreement. Part of that new user agreement was what we called block booking,
Yes.
and we called flexible rehearsals. And council awarded the resident companies an outside facility to rehearse in. So that's over at 500 Southwestern, and a shed structure was built for them to build their sets in, so that they could be removed from the Art Center. And what got put in place was, for Theater Coppell, for example, the DeVos project recommended a 29-day period in the black box to produce their show. It was about 12 or 13 days of rehearsal plus 3 weekends. From the end of that, we ended up settling at 43 days. So they move in for 43 days, and then they move out, and they move back in. And the orchestra and the chorale, and the ballet, they can move in for up to 8 days in a row in the main hall as long as they're consecutive. Most of them use 4 or 5 days when they do that for their shows. But they also then can request single-use days. I want to have a show on a Saturday. As long as we don't have a resident company show book, they can have it. Those are the shows. That is what they submit during the annual date period that goes into the calendar. And then outside of that, they can request a flexible rehearsal at any time that they want. And as long as we do not have a paid rental in the building, we cannot say no to it. It's confirmed. However, that still incurs expenses on our part because we have to turn the lights on and clean the bathrooms and have custodial. When they do that, they may not be using the other rehearsal space at that time. The main hall is larger. The chorale has expanded their group and their membership. The orchestra, it sounds much better to rehearse in the main hall, obviously. But there are setbacks with that. We tend to not book a rental once we hit 30 days, which is what allows those flexible rehearsals to come in. But when Brett Egan from DeVos got up, he said to all of us in the room that we have untraditional user agreements with the resident companies, and that he's never seen a user agreement that does not have these groups be held financially accountable for some kind of usage, rental usage. And he recommended a 5% of the market rate for the groups to pay, which then we did not follow that recommendation.
No, totally remember that. And I appreciate the kind of the refresher on a lot of that stuff. Honestly, it's been a while since we've had those conversations. So, all right, well, no, thank you for kind of filling in a little bit more of that. So, I mean, basically what I'm hearing is that, you know, obviously there were the kind of the 3 recommendations you had there, but the needle probably isn't going to move incredibly a lot unless we maybe restructure things even further. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, no, excellent. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Ramesh?
Thank you, Mayor. I think my question is going to be a follow-up of what Kevin was saying. And Jenny, like I said, I really like how you're running this. Looking at it at 30,000 feet level, I like the fact that you're looking to increase the revenue opportunities and you're looking to be more efficient with your expenses. What is it that the city council can do or stop doing to help you in your goal?
I think it would just be further conversations with city council on how you want to see our 3 service areas and how you want to see them produce. Our presented season, we're trying to get to that 70% cost recovery target. That is an industry standard. If you really wanted to see that happen, it would be choices, I think, in either the amount of programming or the quality of programming at this point, because tours and shows are just increasingly getting more expensive with travel and inflation. It's becoming harder to keep us at that same budget level. We've been running pretty flat for the past few years. We're not increasing in that, but we will have to make some decisions soon. With our second arm of service with the resident companies, we're operating at a 0% cost recovery. Is that the model that you would like us to follow, and how do we proceed with that? And then with rentals, that changes in continued market studies to make sure that we're offering our building at the correct rate, and then finding as many available days and as much marketing as we can to market the building to attract more renters.
Mayor, I think those are great points. should we table that and for a different discussion, or are we planning to talk about it today?
So this is Janine's presentation, so I don't think we're in a position to really go into it tonight. I mean, because it's going to require her to come back with a, I mean, one of the things that she could do, and I'm going to speak for you here real quickly, she could tell the resident companies that you can't rehearse or you can't have a show because we've got a paying client that's going to come in. Well, think about the outcry that we would have. And that's the kind of,
And I think that's why we need to help her.
yeah, we do, and that's the tightrope that she walks daily. So
Yeah.
we can certainly do that later, but
Sure.
she's not gonna be able to really come back with anything tonight for us.
Well, I think she's given us some ideas that we need to discuss, and I think maybe at a later date we'll have an agenda item to do that.
Jim?
Thanks. Could you put together numbers showing us what the 5% usage fee for the Rescos would be if they were charged? And is there any analogous situation where that you could look at what would be an appropriate rate to charge the city and the chamber for the use of the facility?
Sure. Right off the bat, from when DeVos was here, traditionally there are two different ways that you can charge usage rates to your resident companies, because resident companies and centers is normal. You can charge them a deep discounted percentage rate of the market rate. You can take a percentage of their tickets, and there are some places that do both. So those are 2 to 3 options. The 5% rate, so currently the main hall rents for $625 an hour. 5% of that would be $31.25 an hour. A weekend rental is an 8-hour minimum, $250. The Wilson Theater for a performance is $325 an hour. 5% is $16.25. 8 hours is $130. I'm going to use Theater Coppell as an example. Theater Coppell is a run of 43 days. 35 of those days are load-in, rehearsals, or dark days in between performances, and then 9 are for shows. With this model, with a event performance rate and a rehearsal rate, they would be paying $2,800 and 53 cents. So that is
Per show?
no, for the entire 43 days, if they're only paying 5%. So if you look at that, it still is only a 14% cost recovery on only the 9 event days. So we're still taking it at a loss, but there is a financial stake that the resident art group would have to commit to in order to use the space. So they're all volunteers, and they all work really hard to produce what they do, and they do a really excellent job, may have to upgrade a little to having a small business mindset for their operations. Because if Theater Coppell did 5 shows per year, which in this new fiscal year 26, they actually downgraded to 5 shows, they would be paying the city about $14,000 to $15,000 in that 5% market rate if they kept it these 43 days for those 5 shows.
What about the city and the chamber? Any
The
idea?
city and the chamber, we could do either or. We could use the city and chamber and they could be subsidized at the same rate, 5%. And then they would be paying these same rates. We have for the main hall, the reception hall, and the Wilson Theater, we have a weekday rate and then we have a weekend rate. And then we have a per hour rate. And the weekday rate and the per hour rate is lower because we're trying to attract those corporate rentals. Because this 5% rate still doesn't do full cost recovery for everything, but it is something.
Does the hourly rate capture all of our base expenses?
The hourly rate at the market rate, yes. And that's how, with that hourly rate at the market rate, plus the additional add-ons that some of the renters will pay for, let's say they want to use an extra projector or extra microphones, That then goes towards us because we put in a rate and a charge for that so that we can continually maintain our equipment. And between that rate and the profit we built in, that's how we're ending up with profit from the private rental sector.
Okay, well, I think you're doing a fantastic job, and your staff do a great job, they're wonderful. I've been there many times, and they're always wonderful. But I do think the city needs to weigh in a little bit on the financial side of this. That'd just be my thumbs up.
Don, did you have your hand up while ago?
I didn't, but I can.
Well, Kevin has his hand up.
Yeah,
Trying to
go
take my
ahead.
thunder, man. Jim, just playing just a little bit of devil's advocate on what you said. I mean, having the city pay the art center, isn't that a little bit of robbing Peter to pay Paul? I mean, I understand that it would look different on your accounting sheet. Totally understand that, right? But I just want to kind of understand what would the need be for that?
I think the reason that you'd want to look at it would be that the free usage of the city and chamber of the facility makes their books look worse in terms of the art center's financial performance. And it puts it on their books instead of our books.
I agree to that. I agree to Jim's point, because sometimes when I talk to our residents, they do quote this number, but this number is what it is because, you know, the art center is having to subsidize some of the things that we do. And
Right now, we're just receiving the free rental and all like that, right? But it's aggravating the appearance of their books and their financial performance by virtue of the lack of any payment at all from us or the lack of any usage fees by the Rescos.
To be clear, I completely see that. I think it just, to me, it's just, there might need to just be what is our philosophical understanding on how, like, are we okay with a certain amount of, I'm gonna figure, moss on this, because, I mean, we're obviously funding it, through sales tax, through hot tax and things like that. So it's obviously not a self-sustaining building program, however we want to encapsulate it, but no one's ever really said that it would be that. And so to be clear, it would not matter to me either way. I just, the money's coming from the city one way or the other on that regard. The other thing I would ask with the chamber rental, is that have anything to do with, any agreements that we have, like with the chamber with sponsorships and stuff like that? Those rental days, or how is that structured?
So the chamber has a contract/user agreement with the city, just
Yes.
like the resident companies have a user agreement with the art center. So we follow what's written in that contract.
Okay, I appreciate the insight on that, because just understanding that structure, I think, is important as well. So.
Don?
I would say, you talked about the taking out of one pocket to the other, that's true of the resident companies also, because we fund to at least some extent the resident companies also, so it would be more of an ownership type thing if they were managing at least a piece of it and everything. And I think we have a beautiful asset over there, and we should maximize the revenue that we can and everything, but it is also for the benefit of the residents. And if you do this same analysis on any of our other quality of life amenities in this city, you will come up with similar, if you want to call it a loss, you will come up with a similar result. You do it with the parks or the library or anything else. Those are all quality of life, and they are not going to fully recover the cost and everything. So, but I do think it's great to maximize. We have a beautiful building that we can maximize the revenue on. A couple of clarifying questions. You said increasing shows or decreasing the quality of shows. Is that so? Increasing shows, just that will help fill the gap a little bit.
So if we were advised that we need to hit a minimum of 70% cost recovery or 100% cost recovery for the presented show, right now for booking for the next season, the only way to do that would be to decrease the total number of titles purchased or continue with the 10 to 13 titles and decrease the quality of the shows brought in.
Okay.
So right now, we're buying shows that AT&T Performing Arts Center is buying, because that's the quality the community is expecting from us.
Jenny, from what you're saying, I'm interpreting it as we are losing money on every show. Is that the case? I thought on some of those professional shows, we are close to breaking even?
So what it does is we put the entire season together, and that's how we get to that 68% cost recovery. There are shows that we profit on, and there are shows that we take a deep loss on. So in last season, we presented Broadway in Love. We had over 115% cost recovery on that show. We also presented Ragamala Dance, Children of Dharma. We had a 22% cost recovery on that. So that is how the season balances itself out, and we look at it holistically as a whole picture, because some shows cost more and some shows cost less, but the average overall cost of the shows is $30,000 each.
Which plan brings Leanne Rhymes back? I want to do that one
The
because.
plan that we are still currently on right now,
Okay,
the
all right, there
10
we
to
go.
13 titles.
All right, just curious.
Okay, so increasing shows helps us, because I would certainly be in favor of not decreasing the quality. I
Right.
mean, as much as possible, let's keep that quality up would be certainly what I'd want. Are you in charge of, do you manage, is it called the hangar or whatever, the rehearsal area? And everything? Do you is that fall under your,
I do oversee the facility maintenance and coordination with the resident companies over there at 500 Southwestern, the hangar,
Yeah.
or the arts lab, it's got like 3 different names,
okay.
and the shed that is now next door to it, in
So
between the 5
has that been successful? Has it given them what they need? I mean, I know it's offloaded some, or it's increased the capacity at the big building, but is it actually satisfied what they need?
I will say it is adequate for rehearsal space. The ceilings are low. There's a pole in the middle of the rehearsal area. It is not 100% comparable to the art center.
Yeah.
However, it's a rehearsal space that is free to them. Irving Art Center doesn't offer that to their resident companies. Irving Art Center has the main stage group. They rent their own facility and build their own sets and do their own rehearsals in that facility, and then they move into the Irving Art Center for those anywhere from 14 to 29 days, and then they move out. And it's all about how the resident companies use that space. I will say, out of all of the groups, I think Theater Coppell has been the most successful in using that space, because they're really limited to 43 days in and out, and they don't do flexible rehearsals. The other groups use the flexible rehearsals and use the art center as much as they can, and utilize a little bit of that hangar space as well.
Okay, thanks.
The hangar space serves its purpose.
Yeah, that's what I was curious
Yeah.
if it,
It's
I mean,
not real
it's-
popular, but it serves its, it
Right.
serves its purpose.
but it goes back to the balancing, generating as much revenue as we
Yep.
can, and still giving the Rescos
And-
some space.
And interestingly, this is kind of outside of the art center, the resident companies are not responsible for generating revenue. At least not at the macroscopic level, so they don't really care.
Yeah,
And that's why they, think they ought to be in the main building all the time.
yeah. Thanks for the update.
Yeah. very
You're
good.
welcome.
So now,
Great presentation.
any preview of the upcoming season?
Well, we just started our 25-26 season,
Mhm, that's
and
right.
we have the Bacon Brothers coming next Friday, which is 100% sold out,
Yeah.
all the way sold out. And I am in the
Separation joke here.
I know I'm related to him somehow.
Related.
and I'm in the early stages of planning for 26-27
But
right
not
now.
Leanne Rhymes.
Leanne Rhymes is not on the docket this
Yeah,
year.
because she's doing 911 Nashville.
Yes.
Mary will be.
I'm scared that you know
She doesn't
that.
want you to stalk her.
Well, clearly
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing scene out on
Thank
the
you very
stage door
much.
last time.
Thank you.
So, Ramesh, send a note back to Mike and I and with your request, and we'll get it scheduled out and sometime in the point when she can prepare.
Thank you, Jean.
All right, item C is a discussion regarding boards and commissions appointments. As my name by it, and I had a whole lot to do with this, so I think Lauren's gonna save the day.
She saved a lot of days in the short time she's been here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary.
pulled up this on my computer, the pink was not pink, so this is more pink. Okay, I got it. I don't know how to go down the list. Let's just start at the top. Who is doing animal services? Just any comments from the interviewers on that?
Just great candidates.
Looks like we have two incumbents and a new appointee. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Anybody have any complaints with that? All right. This doesn't have to be an in-depth process, so,
Yeah,
okay, Board of
that's good.
Adjustments. We have 4 people that signed up, and none of them are incumbent. Does that mean that we lost most of our Board of Adjustment?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe that's correct.
And I think we were not full already.
Yeah.
I think we only had maybe 6 slots of the 9 filled to begin with.
Okay, so,
So Don and I were part of that, really good candidates, and those 2 alternate slots. My proposal is the other committee that I was involved in had phenomenal people as well. So if the council is willing, we could take some people that were not able to make it into other boards and fill them up here in the Board of Adjustment.
to fill the other 2 alternate positions that are open?
Well, Mayor, what I would say is, you know, the P and Z had a couple of people who didn't make it. It kind of seems like might be a good place to start.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Michael
don't want to speak.
Ludden was a very good
Yeah.
candidate.
So, I mean, the other board that I was involved in, Smart City, Savio Chaco, I think both the staff, Biju and I were extremely impressed with him as well.
So which one? I'm sorry.
Smart City Board,
Smart City.
Savio Chaco. He was ranked number 1 on Smart City.
Do you know if that individual is interested
We
in?
checked with him,
Oh, okay, okay,
and he's glad to serve in any which way that he can.
okay.
Okay, so before we go back and start filling some alternates, let's go down the list to make sure that we're okay with the regular appointees.
Okay.
Economic Development Foundation, we've got 2 returnees and 3 new folks recommended for joining.
How often that committee meets?
I'm sorry?
How often?
Once a
The
year.
foundation,
Once
Yeah.
a year,
once a year.
That's it.
as needed, but typically just once a year.
We're just
So-
not doing quite as much of that as we used
No,
to.
very little.
Sort of like the Board of Adjustments meets as required.
Yeah, they've been pretty active lately,
Well,
though.
they were, maybe that's why we
Yeah.
lost all of them. It was a tough year for them. Okay, moving on to the ethics review. Got 4 regular appointees shown there.
We had some great candidates. I mean, it was but yeah, I mean,
I was really impressed with the candidates that we saw.
agreed.
Okay, future approach to residential development, Ford Board. We've got a alternate that's gonna be moved to the regular. And it looks like 1 new member joining.
That's correct.
I have a quick question. We heard that we didn't have as many applicants for the Ford Board, is that true?
That's true.
So we had a sufficient number of applicants then? Okay, thank you.
All right, Library Board.
Mark and I did that.
All incumbent.
I mean, sorry,
Or
Dawn and I
Or
did that.
Don, the other bald guy.
I was looking at Mark.
Even the bald guy's mixed up. Nothing of note, really.
Huh?
Nothing of note.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah, we had someone not show up and then, no reason not to appoint the incumbents and,
Right.
Okay, moving on to Parks and Rec.
That was Bijou and I last night. Bijou, I don't mean you can tell me, but I thought we had fantastic candidates, just all up and down all night. So it was very, very difficult we actually got there pretty quick, but
Yeah, I mean, we had 4 openings, 10 candidates. I think all of them were excellent candidates.
yeah.
I could use some of them for
In
other
areas.
areas that's not filled. I think it was very difficult to choose, but we had to choose.
That's good.
Just so y'all know, what we recommended, an alternate that was halfway through their 2-year to be moved to a regular member, and then we reappointed someone, and then we named an alternate that was up for a spot. So we basically have 3 people, 2 of them were alternates and everybody's moving to a regular spot. And then we found 2 fresh people to move up to the alternate positions.
Okay, and when you say fresh, that was Ken and Amy?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, thank you. Yeah, when was Parks and Rec done? Was that last week?
No, last night.
Oh, that was last night.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to planning and zoning. Looks like we had no major change. They're all in, oh, no, I'm sorry, we had Samit.
We're all clear with Samit this time?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So what's the
It
deal
will
with
be
Samit?
Well, remember he served for a month the last time. And then there was a conflict of interest because his company got the design contract. So he couldn't carry out his term, so he stepped down. Now that the project's done with and over, he reapplies.
So we reappointed him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know that he was on for a month. It seemed like it was maybe a week or something. But
Yeah.
it came to light right away, and he just stepped away. But, you know, he's a great candidate.
Yeah, handled it very professionally and the right way, so I
Yeah.
think, just to say that out loud. that's
So
all.
how does it work if a resident is a contractor with the city or a consultant, they are unable to serve on the board?
Yes,
Yes?
Yes,
yes. There's a requirement, you cannot have a contract with the city. It's conflict of interest.
So consultant is also applies the same, if we have a consultant?
It's kind of a broad term, I don't know what that might mean.
I don't know.
Potentially, yes. It
Okay.
says you may not have a contract with the city.
Okay, that's what it is. Thank you.
So I cannot serve.
Plus you bailed on us.
And this one's done because it's already being,
what's that?
and I said he's already done with his
Yeah.
particular project.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
If
Yeah,
we
his
just-
part of the project.
If we just meet the November 11th date,
Yeah.
the current estimate, we're gonna be done a week before. Okay, Smart City Board. Got
Viju and I were on that board, and again, all 4 incumbents reapplied, so we gave deference to that. And the other candidates were also amazing, so we had a difficult time ranking them below the incumbents.
Okay, so the only positions I'm seeing that we actually have open are the 2 alternates for the Board of Adjustment. Am I reading that right?
I think that's what I read as well.
Okay,
That are youth advisors.
so, yes, do
So-
we have anybody that you guys interviewed that you would recommend that we offer the Board of Adjustment alternate position to?
Yeah, I would recommend Xavier Chaco from the Smart City Board that we couldn't select because all the incumbents reapplied to one of the alternate.
I would
Michael-
second that.
Michael Ludden, I think this is the 2nd or 3rd time he applied for P and Z. Great candidate. And he might have an interest in B of A.
I would second Michael as well.
Cool.
Okay, anybody have are we all good with this?
Yeah.
All right, we will we will add Savio and Michael to the Board of Adjustment. Is it
definitely like the idea of trying to fill out all the open alternate spots as well.
We didn't want-
Just to make sure we go in kind of full loaded.
They had like three.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you very much. And I went into this, thank you guys for doing all the interviewing. I know it's a horrible, scheduling burden on each of you. And with TML and the change in the TML convention, it really just threw our whole schedule off. So thank you for being understanding and spending the time doing it. It really does mean a lot to the people that get selected, so thank you.
We need to get these picked back up.
This
We're
is
against
not,
Okay.
It's not,
this is
it's
not,
not exactly.
this is open, so
It's
no.
open.
No, just making sure, just double check.
I just want to say, I want to thank the staff. I know we had a turnover here with the city secretary and Kelly. The boards that I interviewed, everything was smooth, so I appreciate that.
Well, good.
Yeah.
And that is always a headache for the staff to do, so thanks, ladies.
I actually really appreciated there was introduced like a ranking kind of thing to where if there was something to be, like if we had an opening in the future that that they would be considered based on their interviews and stuff. I actually really appreciated that addition to that. It made it really smooth to maybe future-proof some openings. So love that.
And quick mention, Lauren, our city secretary, who also happens to be an attorney, educated me on some document preservation. So I'm glad we started doing it starting this year.
All right.
I just tore mine up and put in the trash.
From the other attorney
Just saying.
And Jim didn't write anything down.
I did not either. I did not either.
All right, we're going to move on to item D. This is a discussion naming or renaming of municipal-owned facilities other than park-dedicated facilities. This has Mayor Pro Tem Carroll's name beside it.
It does. So this will be real quick. What I would like to ask is if we can ask staff to go and try to come up with criteria for naming facilities. And let me give you some background. So I got to looking at what does it take, or what's the criteria or the process or anything to name a city facility. They went digging into, I guess it's an ordinance, right? So you go digging into ordinance, and there are particular criteria for park facilities. But they're specific to park facilities in as much that even the part of the process, it starts sort of with the park board. And so clearly, if it's not a park facility, that wouldn't make sense for it to go to the park board. So there really isn't a process, it appears, or criteria for naming facilities that are not in the park system or in Parks and Rec, which is not even, is probably an outdated term now even. So
Community experience.
community experience, right? So that's what I would like to ask is if I could ask support to get staff to go back and figure out what could be a process or criteria for naming non-park facilities. And from what I can tell, so I could only come up with four facilities. Park, I guess they're all park. If you count library now as a park, it's part of the park system or a community experience system. There's only 4 facilities that probably have a name. I may be missing some, but Thweet, Annie Brown, Lou Dugan, and then Cosby. There may be more.
What was the first one?
Tweet.
Thweet.
Oh, Tweet. Oh, you're right.
Tweet. Tweet.
But other than that, I mean, there may be more than that, but there isn't, I don't guess there are any non-park facilities named that I could think of. So that's my ask.
I mean, he said it.
Andy Brown, yeah, and Lou Dugan both.
There's a good story behind that.
Uh-oh.
Mayor, one of the things, if you do that, would you also want to do sponsorship
Well,
as well?
I guess
Is
I would,
that-
I guess as far as, I mean,
Because there's naming in their sponsorship, I want to make sure we understand what you want.
well, that I would either revert to the rest of council or staff to what a recommendation is. I guess we have done a little bit of sponsorship or naming rights with the Arts Center. I mean, I don't know if Pete's is, that was probably just in honor of him, right, naming that. The amphitheater out front, or whatever you call it, has someone's name on it. So, But other than
It's a
that,
performance pavilion.
performance pavilion, I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone. So I guess I would be, I mean, whatever everybody else thinks, and getting a procedure for any naming rights or naming a facility after someone.
And also look into the sponsorship or as a
We can
part
have
of that.
AT&T on City Hall at some point.
No, I think that's a great
I don't-
idea.
Council meeting brought to you by Verizon.
Okay, so
Right.
Biju's had his hand up for a
Yeah,
while.
so I'm trying to understand, what is this section 9 procedures and guidelines for naming park and lands?
That's what we have currently.
Okay,
It's only for parks, though. It doesn't pertain to any non-park facilities. Like City Hall, not that we would ever name City Hall, but,
You never know.
Well, like in Frisco.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yeah.
like in Frisco, it's called the George Purifoy
okay,
Municipal Center.
okay, yeah, so, or the Justice Center. I mean, there could be any number of, theoretically, any number of non-park facilities that we might want to name
okay.
after
So
somebody.
it was a part of the attachment, I was thinking maybe your subject is connected
No,
to
this was just showing, this is all that exists. That's why it was added, is this is all that's in there. It doesn't pertain to anything broader than that. The one thing I would ask about, I guess, at the moment, these park ones, one of the things is you gotta be dead to be named, for something to be named after you, but clearly, two of the facilities, the guys are not dead. And so I don't know if that should be or should not be a requirement or not. I mean, clearly you can make an exception to it, right? You can do it, but that's clearly Andy and Lou both.
Yeah, I have a question on that, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what
And I don't know
really-
what the background is, how we naming, making the exception or not, but I don't know. I guess I would ask, is that really a relevant criteria or not? And I guess, does it make sense to even go back and make sure that these guidelines are, I guess if we're gonna come up with new guidelines for everything else, maybe these ought to be looked at also, to make sure that these still are
These
relevant?
guidelines are fairly new. Andy Brown, there was no denomination ordinance in effect when that was done. Or
Okay.
Park or
Or
Cosby.
Cosby, they may be too, old, this may have come out after all of them. Well, maybe it makes sense to actually review this, the ordinance that's in place, and just make sure it matches with whatever we come up with for the other facilities.
Kent's got it.
We'll bring both back for
Biju,
for discussion.
So are we going to review this as well, the section 9, because it says you have to be deceased,
Yes,
Yeah.
and name after the,
Yeah.
Well-
park.
that was written after
Yeah,
the Andy Brown was done, but before the Lou Dugan was done, so.
Okay, that's all my request is for now, thank you.
So Kent's got it. Thank you very much. All right, item E is a discussion regarding the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors nomination. Ms. Lauren?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lauren Thoden, City Secretary. Here to briefly present on the Denton Central Appraisal. Currently, there are 2 positions that are open for nomination. The City of Coppell has 1 vote in the Denton Central Appraisal District.
Out of how
In-
many?
Out of 2,000. Yes, it's a limited effect.
Thank you.
But-
It's the number 1 vote, Mayor.
It's the first number.
Rank first of the 2,000, so
Okay.
really important.
Thank you for clarifying.
So in the past, the council has determined to take no action. However, I will let you know that place 4 and place 7 are currently open for nomination. Place 4 is held by Ann Pomacal. She is also the vice chair. And Mike Hennifer is in place 7 currently. So that would be, if you have any nominations, there is a resolution that was set up for this evening on the consent agenda. As this information would need to be provided to Denton Central Appraisal by law today.
So we've had this discussion before. Have any of the candidates reached out to anybody?
This is for nomination.
It's not a vote, just the
It's not a
nomination.
Oh, this is the nomination.
Yeah.
Nominate somebody, they have to live in the county too, so it has to be someone that lives
In
in
Denton.
Denton County in Coppell.
Mm.
You can nominate anybody, you can nominate anybody that lives in Denton County.
Okay, so I'm misunderstanding. The two positions that are open, they have, the two people that you listed are the incumbents?
Yes. They are the currently seated incumbents.
And they're looking for nominations for people to run against them.
They're looking for nominations. It could be that you want to nominate those same people. So after the nomination process is when we would bring this back to you for, the chief appraiser will compile the list of nominees by October 30th. Once that list is provided to the city, we would bring that back to city council for you to make a determination as to your vote.
I don't, unless Bijou wants to do it.
I was gonna say, Bijou, you don't have to-
You've been nominated, congratulations.
You got my 0.0384%.
I suggest we just let it lie, what do y'all think?
And so, yeah.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
Bijou is not interested.
Yeah,
So do we need to do anything for consent?
No?
I'm not either, big guy, so
We'll take
I'm
no
not
action.
blaming you. No judgment here.
All right.
So in consent, you know, because you polled out these.
I think it's.
So we just let-
Yes.
Do we just let it die?
Oh, I think.
Yeah,
they're
just
all
consider it.
officials, but-
Just say, pull that item, and then just say.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, well then, no, we need to keep Bijou.
Okay.
Hang on, which one is
You
it?
said
It's
you
item
can't
B.
serve on that
I don't think we've ever-
and be an elected
It's
official.
item B.
B.
Yeah.
Well, then you need
All
to
right.
stay where you're at.
So, okay, we do need to take action. We need to pull that from consent and vote on everything but B
Okay.
in consent.
Oh,
Okay. All right, anybody, that's the end of work session. We have 25 minutes till regular city council. The time is 7:01 PM. We have adjourned from work session and move into council chambers at 7:30. Thank you very much.
So what Calling Don Carroll. Don Carroll.
Good evening, everybody. The time is 7:30 p.m. and we're at the end we've concluded our work session and we're here for the regular meeting of the Coppell City Council. Just as a reminder, persons wishing to speak during the citizens' appearance or the public hearings must sign the appropriate registers, which were located outside the council chambers, and list your address. This evening, we're very fortunate to have Ms. Eugenia Faulkner, of the Ward Missionary, here to give the invocation and then remain standing while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful this night for this opportunity to be here with the council members, and we pray for thy blessings to be upon them as they make decisions for our city, that they'll be blessed with wisdom and with care for everything that they do for Coppell City. We ask for blessings upon our beautiful city to stay clean, beautiful, and to be safe, and grateful for all the wonderful blessings we have to live here. And may all these members and those who do things for our city be blessed with all the things they need. And we leave this humbly in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Item number 6 is a proclamation. So while I'm headed down, I'd like to invite Jonathan Ward to come on down to the front and bring any friends along. Whereas trees are cherished by the residents of Coppell for their vital roles they play in enhancing our quality of life, connecting us to nature, improving air quality, conserving energy, reducing soil erosion, and providing essential habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees enhance property values, beautify neighborhoods, and contribute to the well-being of our community. And whereas Arbor Day is a time to celebrate trees and encourage planting and care for future generations. And whereas for 29 years, Coppell has proudly earned the Tree City USA designation by meeting the program's 4 requirements: a tree board or department, a tree care ordinance, allocating a minimum of $2 per capita towards community forestry, and an observance of Arbor Day and proclamation, demonstrating our community's ongoing commitment to urban forestry and environmental stewardship. And now, therefore, I, Wes Mays, Mayor of the City of Coppell, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, October 14th as Arbor Day in the City of Coppell and encourage all residents to support tree planting and preservation efforts throughout our community. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Coppell to be affixed this 14th day of October, 2025. So thank you very much. Sam will get a photo. Come on in. Get in close.
Here for a second. Everybody, yes. All right. All right. 1, 2, 3. I love trees. Thanks, everybody.
Did you have anything you wanted to say?
Sure. I'm joined here with Brent from Elite Tree. We couldn't do most of the work that we do here in the city without his services, so thank you. And then Adam Richter, our boss, he gets to tell me yes a lot of the time, so thank you, Adam. And trees just serve as the backdrops to a lot of our favorite memories. I know me as a young boy hanging out in the parks, being full of tomfoolery, and now I'm just proud to serve to be a part of Coppell and be a part of this legacy of 29 years. And you know, next year we're going to make it 30, so yay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming out. All right, item number 7 is a citizen's appearance. We did not have anybody signed up to speak, so we're going to skip over to item number 8, and that is our consent agenda. The consent agenda is routine in nature and is generally enacted in a single motion. These items have been previously approved through the budget or past council actions. Any item may be pulled and considered separately. Full descriptions are available on the screen. Tonight we have consent agenda items A through Q. Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we approve the consent agenda items A and C through Q, taking B off, given our prior discussion.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Nevels. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill. Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to number 9, this is a public hearing. So I will open the public hearing and consider approval of PD 221 R3 R6 AC Hotel by Marriott Lot 1R-8R Block C Duke Leslie Edition, a new detailed plan development amending the currently approved hotel plans by adding 402 square feet and 4 rooms to the hotel layout on 2.66 acres of land located on the northwest quadrant of I-635 and South Beltline Road at the request of D.K. Patel of Whitestone Hospitality Management, being represented by Alex Strimple with Quiddity Engineering. Mr. Steer.
Mayor, Council, good evening. In April 2020, Council approved a detailed site plan for a 5-story Hilton Garden Inn, approximately 77,500 square feet in size. This was administratively amended to allow an AC by Marriott with the same room and parking counts. With the current request, AC by Marriott is increasing the room count by 4, which requires 4 more parking spaces. They're proposing to offer a shuttle bus to and from the airport and surrounding businesses to offset the increase. The Planning and Zoning Commission was comfortable recommending approval of this request, as this was a PD condition. There are very minor changes to the landscape plan. They're adding a small amount of landscape area and removing the proposed tree that conflicts with the utilities. The building is proposed to be 5 stories in height, and there's no changes to the building materials that consist of a gray brick, white, gray, and bronze ephes, and gray metal panels, along with accented with dark bronze vertical louvers. Here's a digital version of the color board. We sent out 4 notices within 200 feet, 6 notices within 800 feet, and received no response either in favor or opposition. Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval, subject to the following conditions. 1, there may be additional comments at the time of building permit and detailed engineering review. 2, a shuttle service shall be provided to and from DFW Airport and surrounding businesses. 3, to allow the parking as proposed, 1 required parking per room, 1 required parking space per room, and 1 required parking space per 450 square feet of meeting space. 4, the previously approved conditions shall be carried forward as follows. These were what was approved with the Hilton Garden Inn, to allow a 5-foot landscape buffer along the southern property line, to allow 4 colors and greater coverage of secondary colors to match the hotel prototype colors, and to allow for 1 loading zone on the west side of the building. That concludes my remarks. The applicant is in the audience as well, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Before we hear from the applicant, council, do you have any questions for Mr. Steer? Councilmember Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Steer, this might be more appropriate to the applicant, but I'll just put it out there. On the second condition about the shuttle service we provided to DFW Airport and surrounding businesses, is there any detail about what is included in the phrase surrounding businesses? Because I would love to get more information about that.
Okay, yeah, I had a email correspondence with the applicant today just regarding that exact same fact.
Okay.
And so surrounding business means any business that's located within Coppell, as well as the surrounding areas like Cypress Waters and Irving.
Okay, so you're telling me, would that be an on-demand type thing, or would it be a fixed route to the airport and back, and then maybe in between on-demand to the other businesses?
Yeah, you'd have to ask the applicant
Okay,
in
all right,
terms of on-demand.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll ask the applicant when they come up.
Okay.
Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Steer. I guess my question is, when we have a requirement like this with respect to the shuttle service as part of a PD, that's not running with the deed, right?
No, it's the zoning that's running with the property, though.
Okay, so if the hotel was to sell to another hotel operator 2 years later, they would still be required to provide that
Yes,
shuttle
sir.
service?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Councilmember Nevels.
All right, just one more follow-up for you. Have we ever had a PD condition like this before?
Yes, the last hotel that we approved, the Town Place Suites, we actually had 2 shuttles.
Okay, with the same type
Yes.
of language?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
All right. Council, any other questions for Mr. Steer? Seeing none, does the applicant have any comments or?
Just your questions.
Okay, council, you have any questions for the applicant? Sir, come on down, please. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Your name and address, please.
Zainab El Jumaidi, 2805 Dallas Parkway, Suite 600, Plano, Texas.
Excellent. So thank you so much. So I think you may have heard my question before, but what does that service, I guess, that service route to the surrounding business and stuff, what does that look like?
It'll be on demand, but like requested by the residents.
Is the shuttle service to DFW Airport and back on demand, or is that on a route?
That one we can confirm with the owner, but it might be like part of
On
the
demand?
on-demand.
Okay, all right, we'll take it. Okay,
Cool.
excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. We did not have anybody signed up to speak for the public hearing, so we will forego that section. Council, do you have any other questions for the applicant or Mr. Steer? Seeing none, Councilmember Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve agenda item 9 with conditions as presented. Oh, and close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Carroll. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill. Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, moving on, item number 10 is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing and consider approval of PD 325R, a zoning change request from R Retail to PD 325R Plan Development 325 Retail to approve a detailed site plan for a new McDonald's restaurant building totaling 4,180 square feet on the existing McDonald's site totaling 0.897 acres of land located at the southwest quadrant of Sandy Lake Road and Denton Tap Road at 125 South Denton Tap Road. Ms. Boswell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a second zoning change request this evening. So this property was developed as a McDonald's in 1987, so almost 40 years ago. The existing building is 3,981 square feet in size, Over the years, the site has undergone some minor changes. They've added a double drive-through, gotten rid of the trolley car birthday room, playground that was outside, reoriented some of the parking. Plans were approved in 2023 to add a third drive-through window, which was not constructed, opting for a new building instead. So the existing restaurant is planned to be demolished and replaced with the new 4,180 square foot McDonald's restaurant with the drive-through. The restaurant will provide dine-in and drive-through services. The proposed building is slightly larger than the existing building. The site will maintain its double drive-through and will have 3 windows through the drive-through for pay and pickup. The proposed on-site parking on the north and south of the building will be angled and striped for a one-way direction. The parking along Denton Tap will remain as 90-degree parking. There will be a trash enclosure in the same location as the existing one at the rear and a dry storage area at the rear of the site as well. There is a parking variance being requested. The proposed plan shows 35 parking spaces and 13 drive-through spaces. The ordinance requires restaurants to have 1 parking space per 100 square feet of restaurant space. Based on the discussions with the applicant's representatives, the majority of their sales, so 72%, are through the drive-through. So staff supports this request for a reduction in the parking. They are proposing a monument sign on Denton Tap. They received permission to move the sign closer to the street, 10 feet from the right-of-way as allowed by ordinance. So the ordinance allows for a 40-foot monument sign for commercially zoned properties under 2 acres in size and a maximum 4 feet in height. This is measured from the grade level to the top of the sign. They are requesting an exception to this to allow them to have a monument sign that is 3.5 foot wide but 5 foot in height. So the overall square footage would be about half of what is allowed, but the overall height would be 1 foot taller. So instead of 4 feet, would be 5 feet in height. So this site, if you've been there, slopes down from Denton Tap to the parking lot. So the taller sign will allow for better visibility due to easement constraints, and staff supports this request as well. The landscaping for the site will be greatly improved with additional trees around the perimeter, shrubs along the parking areas, and the building. The landscaping along Denton Tap will remain the same width, 14 feet in lieu of the 15 foot, as the fire lane in this area is set and follows other developments along this section of Denton Tap. They are providing decorative paving in the parking area adjacent to the building on the north side. So that counts towards their part of their landscaping. So in all, the building will be a combination of brick, stucco, and a metal wall panel system along the upper portion of the building and aluminum batten vertical accents. As mentioned earlier, there is an indoor dining area and a double drive-through with 3 windows. Signage shown on the building is for illustrative purposes only. Signage will need to comply with city requirements. And I do have a material board if you'd like to see it. So this is a zoning change request. We did send out letters within 200 feet as required by state law and received 2 responses. One in opposition, basically opposed to noise from trash pickup, lighting, delivery, and dust debris from construction. And then we had, so that's in the red. Then we had one undecided who had concerns over noise from delivery times on Sunday, trash collection times, lighting. So during the P&Z presentation, it was kind of determined that the noises from the delivery and the trash were actually for a different restaurant on that row and not from the McDonald's site. We had from the 800 foot, no responses. So the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of the request, subject to the following conditions: that there may be additional comments during detailed engineering review. 2, to allow for a restaurant with 2 drive-throughs as presented. 3, to allow for the landscaping as presented. 4, for the hours of operation to remain the same, lobby hours from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., and drive-through hours are 24 hours a day, every day. 5, that to approve the requested monument sign, all proposed building signage shall require a separate submittal and permit. Now, the Planning and Zoning Commission did add 2 additional conditions. Number 6, to allow staff to administratively approve a noise reduction plan for the outdoor menu ordering board from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. And number 7, to allow staff to administratively approve the location of the monument sign due to on-site utility and visibility triangles. That is the end of my presentation. The applicant is here as well to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions for Ms. Boswell? Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Boswell, it currently has 2 drive-throughs, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so,
basically to maintain what they currently have.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I had.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. Can you talk about 6 and 7 a little bit? So is the idea that there would be a noise reduction plan? I mean, is that the idea they were going to present a plan to you and then y'all have the ability to approve it, or what's the next steps on that?
So essentially, there was concern that if the menu board speakers were too loud, that there's the ability for them to turn down the volume from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. so that they're not impacting the nearby residents. So they've agreed to that, and the speaker system that they're going to be using has that ability.
Okay, I see. And then number 7, is that just as plans and designs get put into place, you will be able to move it around if you need to based on easements and such? Is that what that's saying?
Right, because that particular area has a lot of easements, and so we're trying to figure out where the best placement is, and depending on the footings, how close we can get it to certain easements.
Yeah.
So it just allows staff to have a little bit of
Without going back through the process, okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Councilmember Hinojosa Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question on the approval, was that a unanimous approval? Just as approval doesn't give me the votes.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just curious if it was a 5-0 or what.
I believe it was unanimous.
Yes, okay. And then the other question is on the monument. And can you go back to the dimensions on that?
So a typical sign that is allowed for commercial, for retail, for this acreage is a 40 square foot sign. So it can be 4 feet high, 10 feet wide. What they're proposing is 3.5 feet wide, but 5 feet tall.
Okay, so it's less on the width and more on the height.
Right, so the overall square footage is about 17.5 square feet versus 40, but the height is a foot taller than what is typically allowed.
Okay. Do we have any other monument signs like that where we've made exceptions? And then that's one, and then I think this goes along with it. I think you mentioned trying to figure out where the right placement is. Would this impact any other signage and or entrances or anything that we have out there for other restaurants nearby or other businesses nearby?
So if you take a look at the screen, there's a little red dot.
Right.
You see it move? So because originally they had it placed in the island, which if you drive the McDonald's site is slightly lower than where the landscaping is along Denton Tap.
Gotcha.
And so that's where the height request came in, because it's slightly lower, that way the height would give it visibility, because it's not right in that area.
So that's to accommodate for that.
to accommodate for that, yes.
So then the signage would remain in that area, because if we were to make that exception, it would be, this is the area that would accommodate that?
So they can move it further east, one of the easements, but there's like a variety of easements that bisect that area. So we're trying to find what the best placement is for the
For
sign.
them. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Councilmember Prem Kumar.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, Councilmember Hinojosa Smith asked my question, so I'm good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Councilmember Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually had a follow-up on the monument sign as well. Are we allowing the flexibility to be closer to the road due to I believe it was last year, council passed some revised signage that allows us to move it closer to the road? Is that correct? Or is this because it's a PD?
Because it's a PD.
Okay, so we have that flexibility because of PD, okay. Let's see, and then, do we have any, I'm kind of with Councilmember Hinojosa Smith on that, do we have any examples of monument signs being
Taller?
Yeah, being taller than that? I understand the accommodation that we're trying to get over, but just trying to get an idea if there's any other examples of what they're trying to do.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
With this one, because it's smaller than what's allowed, and just because of the sloping of the site.
Okay.
We felt that they actually want to go taller, so we were kind of talking down to 5 feet.
Okay.
And just try to work with them in terms of, because of the site topography.
Oh, absolutely. I've had my share of cheeseburgers from that establishment in my day, so definitely understand where that's where that sits. But definitely, I think accommodating them by moving the sign closer to Denton Tap and getting that height up a little bit, we feel the applicant feels comfortable, and you guys feel comfortable that 5 foot is going to accomplish those goals.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Council, any other questions for Ms. Boswell? Seeing none, does the applicant have anything that they would like to say? All right, any questions for the applicant? Councilmember Hinojosa Smith.
Thank you. Or maybe you have it, if not the applicant, but I was just curious from a, start to finish time frame. What does that look like, and when were y'all looking to begin this process? Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you come all the way down, but.
I'm Margaret Grissom with Langen Engineering, address 2999 Olympus Boulevard, Dallas, Texas. So we're hoping that the process that we will get permit approval by mid to end of December, start construction January, be open by May.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I guess I'll ask you another question while you're here. Is the applicant good with the conditions that are listed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Ma'am, so during the period of time that the construction's ongoing, are you going to have operations?
No, sir.
Oh, so it'll be closed during that time
Yes,
period?
the whole site will be demolished.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling with logistics here.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, council, any other questions? This was a public hearing. However, we did not have anybody signed up to speak, so we will move on to comments by the council. I suspect everybody has asked everything they need to ask, unless you have another question for Ms. Boswell. Councilmember Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I know you made a comment in your presentation about a nearby, maybe neighbor restaurant, if you will, with some of the sound concerns. Has that been addressed with, I want to make sure I know that's kind of quasi-parallel to what we're talking about here, but has that been addressed with them? And if that has been addressed, no other issues with the site from
So-
our citizens or residents?
So we have, we will be contacting that establishment to voice concerns. We have not done that yet.
Oh, no, not trying to put you on the spot on that. I just want to make sure that that particular concern, since a resident brought that up, that that's being addressed as well. So.
Yes, we will be having code enforcement have a chat with them.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I will accept a motion. Councilmember Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to close the public hearing and approve agenda item 10 as presented with conditions.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second by Councilmember Walker? Thank you. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. All right, item number 11 is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing and consider approval of a resolution granting a variance of 297 feet from the 1,000-foot requirement to AAKIVA LLC for a 7-Eleven convenience store number 27658B for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption, including required notification of the applicable private school with the business's address being 100 West Sandy Lake Road and authorizing the mayor to sign. Ms. Thoden.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lauren Thoden, City Secretary. Just waiting for this presentation to load. There we go. So we are here, the item before you tonight is a public hearing to request a 297-foot distance variance for Akiva LLC for 7-Eleven convenience store number 27658B for the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption. So what we have here is the radius map. As you can see, 7-Eleven in the center. The 300-foot radius and the 1,000-foot radius are, as prescribed. The 7-Eleven is pre-existing and does currently have a TABC license to sell alcohol. There are no facilities within the 300-foot radius of concern. What we have here is the 1,000-foot radius. The code states that a private school may request the governing body of the city of Coppell to prohibit within 1,000 feet of the private school. No such request has been received, however, in light of the fact that there is a Coppell Montessori. If you see on the upper left corner of the screen is the location of the Coppell Montessori school. The applicant did notify the school of the request. The school is informed. As of today, City Secretary has not received any comments or feedback. Additionally, this public hearing was noticed on October 4th, 2025 in the Irving Rambler as required. And again, no feedback was received. So the request before you is for a variance of the 297 feet.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to ask a question before we get into that. That store does not currently sell alcoholic beverages.
It does, sir. It is currently licensed. However, it's my understanding, the history goes, 7-Eleven existed and then Coppell Montessori came along. So it was pre-existing to the private school. And so this.
We're just trying to get over ducks.
Yes, the applicant is here. And so it is.
Mr. Hager, could you help us out here?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, when this store originally, after we enacted, voters enacted, I guess, the beer and wine for off-premise consumption, 7-Eleven did obtain a license from Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. That license was granted. We had this ordinance on the books, but there was no school within 1,000 feet, so they didn't need a variance. And so we have a new owner, and the variance does not run with the land. It runs with the operator or owner. And so we have a new owner-operator, and they're getting a new license, and the school is now there, so they need a variance. So that's why this is before you tonight.
Thank you very much. That
Yep.
was not clear looking at it. Okay, got it. Any, council have any questions for Ms. Thoden? Councilmember Prem Kumar.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is not a question, I think it's more a comment. I think a couple of city councils ago, we approved a similar request for a restaurant. I know it is not a gas station, but, and the restaurant that was existing in that location before also was given that variance. So that's the comment.
Yes, sir, that was in May,
Yeah,
I
thank
believe.
you.
All right. Any other questions here? Does the applicant is on the audience? Do we have, would the applicant have anything to say?
Only if you have any questions from the council.
Council, any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, this is a public hearing. We did have 3 people signed up to speak. Oh. Okay. I was wondering because usually the people that are signed up to speak for a public hearing are opposed, and these are all for, so that's okay. I'm going to get your last names wrong. Manjani? Did you have anything that, would you like to come speak?
If you have any questions.
No, this is the time for you to.
We didn't know what to write here, whether to write.
That's all right. Well, so the time that we ask questions is before, and this is a time that you can volunteer information or do whatever.
Sorry about it.
That's okay. This is, believe me, conforming to state law is sometimes not straightforward. And then we have Mr. Palmer.
Yes.
Okay, and,
If you have any questions for us.
okay, so Mr. Kiwigo?
Well, you butchered that one, but Kiwi, Ken Kiwi.
Okay. So thank you very much. We'll let the council decide what they want to do. Council, with this, I've got 2 questions here. Councilmember Hill. Councilmember Prem Kumar. Councilmember Hill.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and approve item 11.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second from Councilmember Prem Kumar? All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prem Kumar, Matthew, Hill. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. All right, item number 12 is the city manager reports with project updates, future agendas, and direction from work session.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. So beginning on October 20th, we are partnering with Probalski Research to conduct a resident satisfaction survey. So we'd love to hear the feedback from the residents on how we're doing in providing services. Check our social media channels for a link and more details soon. Veterans Day ceremony, are you covering that?
I am not.
Okay. Veterans Day ceremony. Community is formally invited to the Veterans Day ceremony and ribbon cutting of the new Veterans Plaza on Tuesday, November 11th, beginning at 6 p.m. Join us for a meaningful evening of remembrance highlighted by a stunning patriotic drone show. Again, more details to come later. Speaking of the Veterans Plaza, work is progressing. All piers and foundations are complete. The CMU walls are also complete, and electrical work is ongoing. The new traffic signal located at Freeport and Northwestern will go into service this Friday, October 17th. So if you drive that area, you've seen the signal, and it will be operational this coming Friday. You've heard us talk for quite a while about the Coppell emergency water interconnects. As part of our water system redundancy efforts, All of the tie-ins are complete, and the contractor is working on installing the equipment inside the vaults. And finally, DART Silver Line, Archer Western continues to work on punch list items at the railroad crossings, and revenue service is set to begin on October 25th. And that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you very much. Item number 13 are the mayor and council reports on recent and upcoming events. And a big thank you and a shout out to all the community neighborhoods that participated in our National Night Out. It was, again, a stunning success. We had 76 or 78 neighborhoods participate, and it was just another incredible event. And the council, I had a blast. I always do. I enjoyed the event, and everybody up here had a good time. It was really tremendous. And a big shout out to our police department, our fire department, and all the staff that made it happen. It was, each year we get bigger and bigger, and it gets better and better. So thank you very much to everyone involved. This is a friendly reminder that early voting starts on Monday, October 20th. Coppell Town Center will serve as an early voting polling location. For more information regarding additional polling locations and the full list of dates and times, please visit the Dallas County Elections website at dallascountyvotes.org or the Denton County Election website at votedenton.gov. Please note that we are not going to be having a second meeting in October, as the council will be present to support our city manager, Mike Land, as he is sworn in as the president of the International City and County Managers Association. This is a huge event for Mike. He has been a member of this group for many years, and this is absolutely something that he is highly qualified to be, and we're supporting him and looking forward to his continued success in that role. All right, moving on. Item number 14 is council action or deliberation is not permitted on, I'm having trouble turning pages. Item number 14 are council committee reports concerning items of community involvement with no council action or deliberation permitted. Item A is a report on the Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD and Louisville ISD from Councilmember Mark Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's start off with Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD. They're closing out Hispanic Heritage Month with a proud moment as Ranch View High School senior Valeria De Leon was nominated by the Cowboys for the National NFL Latino Youth Honor Awards. Valeria's leadership on and off the field earned her a place in the championship game and a spot on the inaugural Dallas Cowboys Elite Girls Flag Football Team. Winners will be announced during the Super Bowl week in February of 26. Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD is proud to announce that 2 of their schools earned the first ever Lone Star Ribbon Schools Award. Just 26 schools in Texas received this recognition, and CFB is the only school district in North Texas with multiple schools recognized. Also, October is Principal Appreciation Month, so make sure you take some time out and thank your principal tomorrow or sometime this month or even every day. Upcoming, we have the Harlem Wizards bringing their impressive tricks and alley-oops to CFB as they take on a select team composed of district staff. Don't miss this exciting and fun community event at 6:30 on October 25th at Newman Smith High School. Tickets are available at harlemwizards.com. And then let's move on to Louisville ISD. All 5 LISD marching bands recently placed top 4 in the regional competitions. Flower Mound High School took first place at the Bands of America Dallas Mid-Cities Regional. Marcus High School won first place at the HEB marching contest. Hebron High School received second place at the BOA Dallas Mid-Cities Regionals. Be sure to mark your calendars for the district's upcoming musical theater productions, which will feature Mamma Mia, Cinderella, Little Shop of Horrors, Sunset Boulevard, and Anything Goes. You can go to lisd.net for more details. And one last thing, Louisville ISD cross-country programs recently competed in UIL district championships, where the Flower Mound High School girls and boys both won the district championships. So congratulations to them. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Items B and C are both from Councilmember Kevin Neville, so we're going to hear from a report on the Coppell ISD and then from the Coppell seniors.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple notes from Coppell ISD. Interim Superintendent Doug Williams has completed his tenure with Coppell ISD. His last day was October 10th. So we thank him for his service throughout the summer while the search for our new full-time permanent superintendent was underway. Speaking of her, Dr. Leanne Shivers officially took her on her new role as superintendent on October 7th. So happy to see that the school district has that permanent leadership in place. Big news, obviously, in the district has been campus consolidation. There's been a lot of conversation about that. The Board of Trustees was slated to vote on a campus consolidation plan that was presented over the summer. That vote was postponed till later in the month, as early as October 27th. So there was no action on that consolidation plan. So we'll be watching, that very closely to see how that turns out. Coppell, kind of jumping off on what Councilmember Hill was reporting, in that same BOA contest, I know Coppell placed third in that as well. So maybe we got to work on, beating Marcus a little bit on that. But just want to comment on that. And then I know Coppell ISD recently, Coppell High School just completed their performance of Grease. There was a very noteworthy young lady who played Cha-Cha, who sang an excellent solo in that. I'm not going to name any names, but if you look at the program, I think you'll know that she's got a really awesome last name. So that is my report for Coppell ISD. And then moving on to talk about the Coppell seniors, just a couple things with the senior center. So there was some damage in the large multipurpose room several weeks ago, where there was some water damage. So there had to be some big floor repairs. So that room was closed for a little bit. Repairs have been completed. There may be some future need for some larger repairs, but it is functional again. And so the community is aware that there is a vacant supervisor position. So there's actually going to be no new rentals of that facility until that position is filled, which they're anticipating to be in the next 2 months. And rentals should resume in January. And then for the seniors a Saturday event, there's a craft fair November 8th. That's going to kind of hold the place of their that Saturday kind of weekend rollout test that they've been doing for a while. So I know that the senior community will be really excited about that craft fair. And that concludes my report for Coppell ISD and Coppell seniors.
Thank you. Item number D is a report on the Coppell Arts Center Foundation from Councilmember Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. During the summer, the Coppell Arts Center Foundation held 2 strategic planning workshops to establish a comprehensive 5-year financial plan and to reaffirm its mission with a focus on long-term sustainability. As an outcome of this process, the foundation adopted a revised mission statement and adjusted its budget cycle from July-June fiscal year to a May-April fiscal year to align more effectively with its development initiatives and annual event calendar. The new mission statement is as follows. The Coppell Arts Center Foundation inspires community connection by building partnerships, raising funds, and ensuring that everyone can experience joy from touring performances. The Foundation Board established 4 key strategic targets. Number 1, to increase the Foundation's annual grant to the Coppell Arts Center by 15% to 20% per year. Number 2, to grow the membership base beyond 100 members by fiscal year 2028. 3, to sustain 2 major fundraising events annually, the Dog Days, Fashion Patrol, and the Gala. And 4, to build operating reserve to 25% of annual expenses by fiscal year 2030. The foundation board is really doing a great job. Everyone on there has been very active, and the leadership of Becky Barnes as president of the foundation is really showing some great results. There are 2 new fundraising initiatives that the foundation wants to announce. The first is called Take Your Seat at the Heart of the Arts. This is a seat naming campaign. It's a lasting opportunity for patrons to engrave their name or to honor someone special on one or more main hall seats at the Coppell Arts Center. It comes with a custom hand-engraved brass plaque displayed for 4 years with renewal and legacy wall recognition. The funds raised will help to bring exceptional touring performances, such as Leanne Rhymes, and offset costs for resident arts groups. It also includes an annual Find Your Seat Day donor celebration at the Arts Center. And the second fundraising initiative is the pre-show lounge experience. This is exclusive for the luminary members and above, so if this is something you have an interest in, you definitely want to look at buying a membership. It's a new membership benefit inviting major donors to step into the scene before the show. It's VIP access to a private members-only bar and lounge before select Coppell Arts Center presented series performances. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. May I append to the Art Center Foundation had their Dog Days Dog Show on Saturday, and it was in front of the Art Center. There were hundreds of people present and at least that many dogs, and a fun time was had by all.
It was rough.
It was.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm a dad. What do you want me to say?
All right, item number 15 are public service announcements concerning items of community interest with no council action or deliberation permitted. Do we have any? Councilmember Prem Kumar.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to share that our very own mayor had his birthday on October 11th, and my clan has his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to both of you.
Well, thank you very much. You know, at this point, you just quit counting, so it's kind of hard. But thank you very much. Any other public service announcements? All right, there was no necessary action from the executive session, so therefore, there being no further business before the council, we are adjourned at 8:21 p.m.